I want to welcome you to the Pro Mindset Podcast. The Pro Mindset Podcast is all about diving into the headspace that results in championship performance. High-performing athletes, winners, have this mental flow and have a positive headspace for their performances and success. Join me, Craig Domann, sports attorney and NFL agent, on this podcast. I will interview pro athletes, college athletes, football coaches, and sports personalities. Together, we can discover how you can get in the flow and have your own pro mindset. Today, my guest on Pro Mindset Podcast is none other than Mike Minter, head football coach at Campbell University. Mike has been a champion his entire life, all the way back to the fourth grade, winning a city championship in football, winning the state championship in Lawton, Oklahoma, winning the national championship a couple times in Lincoln, Nebraska, winning the NFC championship with the Carolina Panthers in the NFL. He's coached two high school state championships in Charlotte, and he just knows how to set a foundation, build a blueprint that leads to success. And he's going to cover that today. And I'm going to briefly give you a sneak preview. Phase number one is you've got to learn how to compete. The players have to learn how to compete, and everybody around the program has to learn how to compete. Number two, you have to learn how to win. It's a group of qualities. It's a mindset. Three is players need to learn how to continue winning, sustain winning. Everybody can win once in a while. Everybody can get lucky once in a while, but not everybody can win continuously or have a pattern of winning. And number four, if you do those first three, it naturally leads to winning championships, building dynasties. So without further ado, let's welcome Mike Minter. What drives you and what motivates you as a coach when you have an opportunity to take on a new position? And so a lot of coaches love turnkey operations where they've been successful, they got a winning tradition, and all they got to do is step in the pilot seat, so to speak, and hit cruise control, and they keep winning. What is the type of program that you like and why?
I like the rebuild or the build, because in some cases it's never been built. And so those are the type of programs I like. They've been down, they don't have a good culture, they don't know what winning is all about. The fans is not engaged, the student body is not engaged, the community is not engaged. You know, they basically don't have anything that people want to see, a product. And the reason why I want to do that is because when I look at people, or if I look at anything, to be able to bring its greatness out of a situation is what motivates me. So when I'm looking at people, I want to unlock their greatness. When I'm looking at a program, I want to unlock its greatness, because I believe every program has it, and every program has the ability to do it. They just don't know how to do it. That's why I like taking programs over like that.
A lot of coaches, when they get into that rebuild situation, they put all their emphasis on recruiting and bringing in new people. Other coaches in similar challenges, they focus on their staff. And they focus on making sure they have everybody on the same page. And they want buy-in from the administration. They want to touch the alumni and boosters. They want to get the fans involved. What's your first, where do you start? It's like eating an elephant. It's one bite at a time.
Yeah.
So when you take over a losing program, let's say they're 1-11, they haven't been to a bowl game.
We was 1-10, so pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Hasn't gone to the playoffs, hasn't gone to a bowl game in a long time. Where do you start?
Okay. First of all, you got to let people know the progression of being a champion. Because if they know the progression, if they know the phases that you're going to go through, then you don't get frustrated, because now you know where you're going. And so I start with that. And I say a team go through 4 phases. The first phase is they must learn how to compete. So if you 1-10, 1-11, you don't know how to compete. And so you got to learn how to compete. Not only the players that's on the football team, student bodies got to learn how to compete against other fans. Community got to learn how to compete. Academic administration got to learn how to compete. And so everybody got to learn how to compete. That's the first step. The second phase that a team goes through is they got to learn how to win. And a lot goes with that, because winning programs do certain things, and you must learn those things. You're not going to, when I say learn those things, I mean you got to become those things that winning football teams do. Okay. The third thing is after you learn how to compete, you learn how to win. Now you got to learn how to deal with winning. That's the other phase, because that's a different set of skills you got to have. Is okay. We winning. How do we sustain it? Because you learning how to deal with it. You continue to get better. You're not satisfied with where you're at. You continue to push yourself. It's really, the battle's really you. It's not necessarily the season or that opponent. So you got to learn how to win. People patting you on the back. Oh, great job. Y'all used to be 1-10. Now you guys, 6-1. Oh, great job. Keep it. Now you got to learn how to deal with that. You got to be able to block it out, continue to do what you're doing, and not get caught up in it. And then the last phase, you got to learn how to be a champion. Now, learning how to be a champion means you do it all the time. Okay, your competitive greatness is in everything that you do, and you winning championships year in and year out. Every year, your name is in the hat. It's been talked about when it talks about championship. North Dakota State, when you look at FCS football. Alabama, when you look at FBS football. The Patriots, when you look at NFL football. Those programs are at that last phase, and that's where you get dynasties from. And so that's the first thing I do. I got to lay it out so everybody understands what phases we got to go through.
That is fantastic, Coach. So number one is you got to teach your players and your team how to compete. You got to learn how to win.
Yes.
You got to learn how to be a sustainable winner. And then you've got to learn how to be a champion. Do you mind just diving a little bit deeper into what does it look like on Monday morning? What does it look like on Saturday afternoons? What does it look like during the season? What's it look like in winter conditioning, spring ball, summer camp, fall camp, all these different components of the season for a young man to compete?
Okay. First of all, you must understand that failure is part of the journey. And you cannot be afraid to fail. That's why people don't compete. This is more mental than it is physical. And so you must change the mindset. And once you change the mindset, now a person can learn how to compete. Because really at the end of the day, it's landing on the line if you're going to win or lose. And then if you lose, you learn and you grow. And then you come and you lay it on the line again as much as you can, and then see the outcome. You look at it and you learn and you grow and you do it again. That's what it looks like every day. Every day you showing up, you trying to beat yesterday you. And that's tough to do. And so what does it look like in a game? What it look like in a game is, in most cases, when the team don't know how to compete, they get down, they quit, they fold up for whatever reasons. Fight amongst each other, just give up all entirely, right? And so it's a lot going on with you psychologically that makes you quit. And then you say, man, my team quit on me, right? And that's the mindset you're trying to kill when you talk about learning how to compete.
Well, two things come to mind. I can't tell you how many times I've seen football games where a receiver or running back is getting close to the end zone, and a defensive guy either was supposed to have that responsibility of covering that player or has an angle. And once they sense that they might not get him, it could be a 12-yard line, and they might actually catch that guy, but they start running away from him because they don't want to be caught in the same frame when ESPN shows the highlight that they were the one that got beat.
That's right.
And they just quit.
Yes.
See it far too often.
Yes.
Drives me crazy. Okay? The second example is 28-3 a couple years ago when the Patriots are down. It's unheard of to come back from 28-3, especially in the Super Bowl. You had so many fans that quit. They stopped watching the game because it was over. Nobody told the Patriots. Nobody told Tom Brady and all his teammates. And they came back because they didn't quit. And they may have lost even if they didn't quit. But every now and then, if you just don't quit, you can make that impossible-looking comeback. So one of the things I would say that's synonymous with competing is emptying your tank.
That's right.
So if you're a young man and you're playing in college, you're playing in the pros, and you put it all on the line, you empty your tank every day, you ain't going to die.
That's right.
You're going to come back, you're going to recover, Maybe that afternoon you might have another workout. Definitely the next day you got another workout. And that gives you an opportunity to get better because you emptied your tank.
No,
Okay?
that's exactly it. It's landing on the line every single day, every single rep, every single activity. If it's school, if it's on the field, if it's meeting rooms, if it's me and you walking from the locker room to the meeting room, I want to beat you and I want to get better and I want to compete.
Okay, so that's in the locker room.
Yes.
Let's talk about outside the locker room. How does that apply to the athletic director? How does that impact the fans?
It sets expectation. So when everybody expectation is set and we know what we're looking for, then we're able to go find what we're looking for. We don't get frustrated. So as a fan, you come and you want to see a team win. I mean, that's why you come to the game, right? It's the experience of winning. Winning makes everything great. Okay. But if we understand that it's all about competing, and competing for a fan is I'm showing up no matter what. It's cold, I'm showing up. It's hot, I'm showing up. It's early, I'm showing up. And I'm showing up and I got my face painted orange and black and I'm ready to go. That's what competing for a fan looks like. See, these crazy fans that you see on TV, they just didn't get there. Right? They had to start somewhere. And that football team had to start somewhere. We don't want the fan that comes on board once we learn how to be a champion. No, we need you at the beginning. And so you have to compete. And so what you have to do is say, I'm going to be more crazier than the other fans. Okay? When they come play us at our spot, regardless of what our record is, I'm going to be there. That's the buy-in that you need for your fans. That's how they compete. Okay? You look at your athletic director and what he has to understand, or she has to understand is that I have to do everything I have to do to give my football team the resources for them to be able to compete. That's what it looks like for the athletic director. Anything that comes up, anything that needs to get out the way, I'm there to get it out the way so it could be smooth for y'all can go compete. Okay? It's hard to compete or try to learn how to compete when you got obstacles and hurdles and all these other things that has nothing to do with football in your way. So the athletic director has to learn how to compete by knocking down the hurdles, knocking down the people that's in the way. I got to move everybody so we can have a clear path at competing in football games. And that's what it looks like for an athletic director. So we compete on everything. We compete on, hey man, Kennesaw State has this. We need that too, okay? And so in recruiting, it's the same way. And if we all competing at a high level, administration, athletic director, coaches, players, then the program go up. Program go up, then we can move to phase 2, which is learning how to win.
Are you enjoying the podcast interviews we do here at Pro Mindset? Then head on over to Bob Rourke's Business Leaders Podcast at businessleaderspodcast.com to hear more interviews like ours, as Bob meets with business leaders from across Colorado to uncover their secrets to success. You'll learn about success in a variety of industries. His podcast will inspire, motivate, and introduce you to the tools and disciplines of elite business leaders. Guests enjoy being on the show because it's informal, wide-ranging, friendly, and candid. Listen, learn, and succeed. I would, just from my observation of watching athletic directors, they need to make sure that they win the arms race. Mm-hmm. They need to be very cognizant of what conference you're in, and you've got to have the best of the best in your conference. Mm-hmm. And if you're a power school, you got to have the best of the best in the country. And the other thing I would say is that there has to be a great communication wavelength between an AD and a head football coach, because when a head football coach needs a bigger salary, assistant coach's salary pool,
that's right.
He or she's got to do it to make sure that you can have the best talent on your coaching staff, best facilities, the best experiences on recruiting weekends, official, unofficial visits, yes, all those types of things, because you're absolutely right. If you don't have both the administration and the football team in sync,
yep,
you can't. one can't do it without the other. Can't do it without the other. You need that support from the administration. Okay, let's jump into winning.
Yes.
When you're sitting down talking to an athletic director who's trying to reverse course on his program or her program, and they've been through some bad times. They haven't had a lot of success. And they're looking at a guy like you who's like a turnaround artist, turnaround specialist, who embraces that opportunity. And you're talking to them about winning. Describe for us what that means and how would you talk to that person?
Right. Okay, so winning is a standard. It's qualities. And so what I call it, I say become the pyramid. Don't learn the pyramid. Become the pyramid, because when you become the pyramid, you will become a winner. See, winners do certain things. And when you look at our pyramid, the cornerstones, they always come to work and working hard. They always have a plan on what they're working hard on. And they always have purpose behind what they're working hard on, okay? So industriousness is the first thing that a winner must have. So you must develop this burning desire to outwork anybody, outwork your competitor, right? You got to have that burning desire. I will not stop until I get what I want. See, when you create that, now we're getting close to being a winner. The second piece of that cornerstone is enthusiasm. You must have passion. You must have passion for what you do. So this is everybody that's in the organization. They got to have these two things. They got to have enthusiasm. I love getting up. When I wake up, I'm ready to go. Nobody has to tell me to get up. I'm ready to go. When my feet hit the ground, I'm ready to get better. And so the other thing that a team that's learning how to win must have is what we call one team, one heartbeat. They must have relationships. They must have friendship within the team. Coaches, players, coach to player, player to coach, support staff. Everybody has to be on this same one accord of one team, one heartbeat. So we got to get to know each other. So we got to spend time with each other. Yeah, we spend time on the practice field. Yeah, we spend time in training camp and spring ball and those type of things and meetings. But you got to do beyond that. You got to do off the field things together so you get to know each other and create those opportunities for us to create that friendship. And then from that friendship, what you're going to get is loyalty. Now I know you. Craig, I know why you're doing it, man. And if you know why I'm doing it, I know why you're doing it, I got your back. Okay? So you got to create this loyalty amongst one another. And the only way you do that is if I get to know you. I get to know your why. And then a third piece of that one team, one heartbeat is cooperation. Now we can cooperate. You tell me, hey, Mike, you ain't getting it done. You need to do this and that. Well, I'm going to cooperate. I'm going to listen. Why? Because I know you got my back. We know each other. We love each other. And so now you can come correct me, get in my lane when I ain't doing it right, so I can get right back on the things I need to get on, right? And so that creates that one team, one heartbeat. Winning football teams have that as their foundation. And then the second piece is winning football teams have team discipline, okay? So that means that every individual has to be disciplined in what they do in order to hold that accountability. Extreme ownership. So winning football teams, they have extreme ownership with one another, okay? I'm going to hold you accountable to a high standard. This is our standard. I'm holding you to it, Craig. I'm not letting you go down. Mike, I'm holding you to it. I'm not letting you go down. So we create this discipline, and we're always going to be where we need to be, how we need to be all the time. Not when we choose to do it, all the time. This is the way we live now. The third piece of that is what we call mental toughness. A winning football team is mentally tough. Not only physically tough, but also mentally tough, because it's a lot of things that happen to you in the 5 years that you here as a student athlete. You got to be able to respond to that, okay? I tell people, good or bad, you got to be able to get back to center. So if something good happened, get back to center so you can get back to focus on what you need to do to get to the next play, right? Something bad happens, same thing. So the one who wins is the one who gets back to center the quickest, because that's the one who's going to be able to focus the quickest, right? And then the piece after that is what we call do your job. Bill Belichick made it popular, but Bill Belichick didn't tell you exactly what that was. That's poise and confidence. Poise is you know who you are, and you're going to be you. Not going to be somebody else. In most pressure situations, when people fail in that pressure situation to show up, it's because they're trying to be somebody else. Say we got a championship game, and we all rah-rah, and they ain't never been rah-rah before, and the team is out of character, and then they go out there and get blowed out because they was all out of character. They was all out of themselves. They talking trash to the other team. Kind of remind me of when we was playing Florida in the championship game when I was at Nebraska in '95. Man, they was talking all kind of trash. We just walked out on the field because we knew we've already been there. We know what it takes to win. All that talking, we poised. They wasn't poised, and it showed. 60-something to 20-something later, it showed that who was the poised team and who wasn't. And then confidence is believing in your work, believing in your preparation, believing what you already set down within the week, within the year, right? You got to believe in what you're training. And then the last piece is competitive greatness. When you put those 15 blocks together and become those things, now you got a winning football team. Now you got a winning program, and you're going to win at that point.
So you're talking about the Mike Minter Pyramid of Success, named after John Wooden?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me share with you what I see about winners. Winners don't do what D Ford did in the Chiefs game versus the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Line up off sides and cost his team potentially the game.
Team discipline.
Team discipline. Just a little mental mistake at the wrong time. Okay? And you see it a lot in big games where guys have they have brain farts.
Yes.
They just, they are uncharacteristically not themselves. So when I think there's some metaphor here where when a player tries to be better or different than he really is, the performance is less than what he really is.
Right. Poise and confidence.
And so if you just go out, I've done been a student of championships, tried to figure out how should you approach a championship game? What should be different? The field's still the same size. The ball's still the same. The rules are the same. Everybody still puts on their shoulder pads and helmets the same. The people that treat it as a normal game, they get to enjoy the spoils of their championship afterwards. So from my perspective of studying championships, the best champions understand that the game is not any different than a normal game. It's just that whether you win or not dictates whether you get to go to Disney World or not. That's the difference. Or have a ticker tape parade or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
That's right.
The rest of it's, like when you play a big conference game against your arch rival, let's say it's a team you haven't beaten, it's still the same game.
Yeah. Mental toughness.
Mental toughness.
Yes.
Okay, so you've worked through your locker room, your program, your entire student body, your fan base, and your administration, and everybody's competing, and now you're winning. How do you focus on phase 3, which is staying at the top of the mountain?
At this point, it's about can I push myself and let's say recharge every single game, every single week, every single day? How can I push myself to get better and improve when I'm winning? Because when I'm winning, I'm sitting there and life is good. I get comfortable, right? And so when you learning how to deal with winning, you never get comfortable. You're always looking over your shoulder. Tom Brady, who's probably the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, 6 Super Bowls, still looking over his shoulder, still getting up every day like somebody trying to come beat me out. I'm going to lose my job. Somebody's going to cut me. Bill Belichick, who's probably the best coach that had never done it, is the same way. And so in order to be that team that learns how to deal with winning, you have to be able to shut out everything, every single day. And it's going to be good stuff because you're winning. Everybody patting you on the back. You got to shut it out and come back as if you're 0-0. Or come back as if you just lost the game. You had the same focus and energy after a loss you got to have after a win. And that's tough to do. Like that's very difficult to do, to erase things that already happened. And you got to be trained to do that. That's why it's a phase, and that's why you got to learn how to deal with winning.
One of the things I see when you go from winning to sustained winning is the opponent changes. So when you start winning, you're playing the team a different colored jersey. But then when you become like a dynasty like Alabama, Clemson, New England, the opponent becomes yourself because you got to bring your best self every week. Every game, you're getting everybody else's best shot. You're circled on everybody's schedule because you're the top dog. So if you're just trying to beat the other team, you're going to lose. You're not going to lose every week, but you're going to lose.
That's right.
But if you bring your best self and you make your competition you, and you let the scoreboard take care of itself, you're more likely to be a sustained winner.
No doubt. I mean, that's it. That's what it is. Yeah.
Because if you like, even the Patriots, winning 6 out of 9, and I mean, winning the AFC championship, being in the AFC championship game like a decade in a row or something like that, at least 9 years, if not 10, winning their division so many times in a row, it's unprecedented. So they're not just trying to be a little bit better than the Dolphins or the Bills or the Jets. Yeah. They're trying to be the best they can be, and because they're catching everybody's best shot, that's why maybe they didn't look so good at certain times this season. Because they were getting everybody's best shot.
That's right.
Okay? So let's go to phase 4. You've competed, you've won, now you've won consistently. Now you're entering into this is high altitude time now. Okay? This is rarefied air. This is when you become a champion. Describe for us, how do you become a champion?
Yeah.
And just so people, in case they don't know, you've been a champion multiple times.
Yes.
At multiple levels.
Yes.
You came a field goal away from being a Super Bowl champion, but you were a national champion in college football a couple times. So you have real life experience. You're not just talking.
Right.
You walked it.
Yeah.
So share for us what it really means to be a champion.
So I started playing football in the 3rd grade. And from the 4th grade on, I won championships. And you can even say in the NFL, because I did win the NFC championship.
You did.
Right? And so when you look at every level I've ever been from elementary there, now as a coach, I coached in high school. We won 2 state championships. And so these are the things that champions do. Once you learn that the competition is no longer the opponent, it's you, then you now have to put like a goal that's out there that's like a legacy goal. What has the history say about that champion who's the best in history? You chasing that. You chasing a guy won 6, I want to win 7, right? I want to win 10. Now you chasing legacy type things that the moment don't even compare to where you're going, because you chasing 7, 8, 9, 10 championships in a row. Bill Belichick, I'm chasing way more than Vince Lombardi. Vince won 5, I want to win 6. Okay, and now he got 6. Maybe he want to win more than anybody that ever won it before, right? This is what drives me. And people don't see that. People don't see that with champions. The Chicago Bulls. Jordan had to beat Magic because Magic had 5. He wasn't chasing nothing else. And so it became an obsession, and then he wins 6. And he good, and that's what drives champions. It's you setting a legacy. At Nebraska, we wanted to do it back to back. Hasn't been done up to that point, up until Nebraska did it in the 70s. Okay, I think it was 71, 72, they won it back to back. And so we wanted to be the first team since then to do it. And that's what drove us to come back and do what we did the next year. And so we want to continue to build a legacy that this ain't never been done before. And that drives you to a place, man, and make you do things that you never thought that you can do.
Now I want to plug a fantastic book co-authored by Gary Chapman, who is a New York Times bestseller with the book 5 Love Languages, and by one of my close friends, Clarence Schuler. Their book, Choose Greatness, dives into the 11 critical choices every young man makes and how these young men can make the right choices so they can get on the path to greatness. I have seen in my time many NFL players mess up their careers, lives, and marriages because they lacked guidance when they were younger. I wish I could have given them this book because after reading it, I have no doubt it would have helped them avoid their pains and given them a GPS path to greatness. You have an opportunity to help the teens in your life choose greatness. You can pick up a copy of Choose Greatness by Gary Chapman and Clarence Schuler at Amazon.com. Well, 2 things come to mind when I think about championship teams and championship programs. Number 1 is they set their goals higher.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about. Legacy goals, legacy dreams, and putting their stamp on their dynasty, so to speak. And the second thing is that they have an uncanny ability to like reset their hard drive and not rest on their laurels and say, if we don't win this year, hey, we won last year. They're not satisfied.
That's right.
And they know they're going to get everybody's best punch, but they're ready for it. And they're able to, very few teams can do this. Yes. Very few, like you said, very few teams in sports repeat.
Yes.
It's remarkable how many times a team wins a championship the first time. And the media comes out and says, oh, my God, they could win 5. Mm-hmm. They could win at least 3. And they only win 1.
Yeah.
Because everybody brings their best punch, and they don't ramp up their goals. Yeah. Maybe they suffer injuries and other things can come into play as well, but they don't do it. So it's very difficult to do.
Very difficult.
So just kind of summarize for us the 4 phases.
Yep.
These are awesome. You know, that's a blueprint for rebuilding or being a turnaround coach for a program that hasn't had success, your 4-step program.
Yeah. Well, summarizing, again, it gives people a picture of where you at. So I can always address the team. I can always address the administration on where we at in the phases. Hey, this is what phase we in. This is how we going to get out of this phase to the next phase. Each team is different. So you don't know how many years, you spend 2 years here, you spend 2 years in this phase, that's not how it works. Each team is different. And so you might spend, 3 months in one phase. The next 4 months, you in the second phase. So it's not a time frame to this. It could be sped up depending on what type of people you have. So if you got people in your organization that really, really want it, and our deal, we was 1-15 when I was with the Panthers. 2 years later, we in the Super Bowl. We NFC champions, right? That sped up quick. We didn't know how to compete, but we had the right dudes that wanted to learn how to compete. And so we sped up, and in 2 years, we was already learning how to be a champion. Okay, so and then 2 years after that, we was in the NFC Championship game again. And so these group of guys was starting to try to figure out how to become a champion. That's where we was at. And so it's really fun to see the progress. It's really fun when the lights turn on and a football team begin to understand how to compete. And see the momentum, people feel that. The fans feel it. They don't know what they're feeling. They just know there's something going on over at that deal. Well, what's going on is a program is growing from phase 1 of learning how to compete to phase 2 on learning how to win, to phase 3 on learning how to deal with winning, and then to phase 4 on learning how to be a champion. That's fun to me. That's what it's all about. How can you help unlock the greatness in the football program? Man, that's it.
That is awesome. Going back to something we talked about a moment ago, we were talking about turnkey programs versus turnaround jobs. Mm-hmm. What's the biggest benefit, satisfaction, impact that you get to make when you take over a program that's starving for a winner?
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes into my unlocking the greatness. Is when you unlock it and the potential of whatever that person or that program is, and it's realized, man, that's more satisfying than anything else because you help that happen. You help bring birth to that, right? That's what it's like, man, when you build a program, man. When you unlock the greatness in people, or program, you're looking at it and you're holding it and you're saying, dang, it's my baby, right? And you're so proud of it because of what you put into it for it to make happen. Well, if you take over a turnkey program that's already there, you just babysitting. You just got to be a great babysitter. If you're a great babysitter, then you good, right? Kid ain't your kid. But if you take care of the kid well enough, things still run smooth and you're going to be good, right? Kid ain't bad. Kid is just really good. I'm just really here. I just make sure I feed you. I make sure, you go to sleep at the right time. And I just make sure things stay in order because they was already put there. So I had nothing to do with creating it. All I'm doing is babysitting it. I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound fun to me. I will always love creating, and that's just my nature.
Well, one of the things I really respect about coaches that come into a losing program and it can turn them around. One guy who just retired this last year, Bill Snyder at Kansas State, took over a program that was in the toilet. And cast a vision and built toughness, competitiveness, all the things you talked about, sustainability, and turned that whole city, university, and even the state around.
Yep.
And so one of the things that happens for coaches that can turn a program around is that they really can impact the enrollment of the university.
Yeah.
Because more students want to come.
Yeah.
You see it in the NCAA in basketball all the time. When there's a program that's not a blue blood program that has a little bit of success, gets to the Sweet 16, gets a lot of notoriety, they get a huge spike in their enrollment.
That's right.
Everybody wants to be around a winner.
What comes to mind is Butler basketball team. Thinking back-to-back national championship games and losing at the buzzer at a lot of them and had an opportunity. But it created such a profile and a platform for those guys, that nobody ever heard of Butler before that. Now it became a household name, right? So everybody knows Butler and the basketball team, and that's what it's all about. It's when you can take nothing, create something that everybody talks about. That's fun.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Pro Mindset. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. 5 stars, of course. You can follow us on our website, promindsetpodcast.com, or on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pro Mindset Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you the next time.